Shalom, this is your brother Nahalia from the GMS Orlando camp. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yashar Allah. And a sincere salutation to all you Akim, who are preaching this word and believing this word, and to the Akwath, who are believing this word, in all truth and in sincerity. Yahweh is the name of the one they ignorantly call God. Yahweh Shai is the name of the one they ignorantly call Jesus. Bahashem is in the name, Rakah is spirit, Kodash is holy, Akyam is brothers, Akwath is sisters, Shalom means peace, and Yashar Allah is Israel in the ancient Paleo-Hebrew. All right, I want to go into a lesson through the spirit in transit. You know, a lot of times through the spirit as I'm driving, I get these meditations through the spirit, and the Lord is raising gods from mortality, you know, if that makes sense. You know, we've went from being sons of God who fell into the chains of darkness, and now we're coming from being in chains of darkness to going back to our original estate, but greater. All right, so real quick, this is Psalms chapter 82, and I'm going to jump down to verse 6. I have said ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High, but ye shall die like men and fall like one of the princes. And mortality is a punishment for us as a nation of people. All right, but it was never meant to be so from the beginning. All right, and now we're coming back into that understanding. You know, when you think about this lifetime is just one of many. You know, just because you don't have the memory of the past lifetimes, it changes nothing really. All right, and the Lord puts the spirit upon us to move with an eternal spirit. All right, with an eternal intention, if it makes sense. Meaning we're not stressed about the ways of this world, the fashion of this world, because we understand the fashion of this world passeth away. Like our forefathers before us, the righteous ones, they understood that every lifetime was just a moment. It was a drop in the ocean. And through the spirit, we're going to return to that. You know, because our spirits are eternal through the spirit, but we're going to have eternal life. Meaning there is no pause, there is no point where we die and have to come back, be born as a child again, you know, lose your memory. We're going to go back to being immortal, all right, in the flesh, all right, because again, our spirits are immortal. You know, even the heathens, you know, they die and they come back because their spirits are immortal because it comes from the source, which is Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right, real quick, this Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2 and verse 26. Salakia, verse 22. As for the mysteries of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, they knew them not, neither hoped they for the wages of righteousness. Because when you think about this path we've been on, really, the earth hasn't been here that long. Creation hasn't been here that long. You know, it's roughly 2 weeks in the Lord's time. Think about that. Roughly less than a month, angels, planets, and everything was created in the spirit world concerning the time of the spirit world, because 1,000 years is as a day to the Lord, man. So when you think about creation in the grand scheme, in the bird's eye view, it's a very young creation, and we're learning these lessons through the spirit at the beginning of it. Creation has only been around less than a month in the Lord's time, man. When you think about that, but when you look at these scriptures, it talks about they neither hope for the wages of righteousness. Why? Because the fear of death has always been a Achilles heel to our people. This is why Jake was always led astray, because they didn't hope for the wages of righteousness, because we had to wait for that. Right now, we live in a world which is the greatest example of instant gratification. The desire to have what you want now and not have patience. Now that goes for small things, and it also goes for big things. And what I mean by that is lifetimes. Because again, Wisdom of Solomon 2 and 22, as for the mysteries of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, they knew them not, neither hoped they for the wages of righteousness, nor discerned a reward for blameless souls. For Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai created man to be immortal, and made him to be an image of his own eternity. Now what you notice, what I noticed through the spirit, is that it says made to be an image of the Lord's own eternity. And what is that? That's that order. You know, because the Lord is eternal. Even the heathens, they have an eternal spirit, but they're not immortal. They have to die, they have to come back, and they have no memory of their past life. But the Lord made Israel to be immortal. To take this journey, this journey of discovering the Lord's creation forever. Because the Lord's understanding is infinite. There is no end to it. And the Lord made man immortal so that, when I say man, I'm talking about the nation of Israel, so that we could take this journey without having to be born again, all right, concerning dying and being born as a child and being raised up with no memory of your past life. All the knowledge you gathered in your past life is gone, and now you have to start over again. The Lord's intention for the sons of God was to be made immortal so that we would always have our memories and we would be able to go throughout this lifetime and just discover, explore, and enforce righteousness in the earth, man. You know, when you think about it from that aspect, this is a very light affliction, and it's a temporary situation. When you think about forever, man, I got a precept. Lord willing, I can bring this out. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 37 and 25. The days of the life of man may be numbered, but the days of Israel are innumerable. They whose judgment was not meant to drink the cup, all right, we've assuredly drunken. Part of that cup is mortality, dying in the first place. You know, we talk about the curses, but when you go back to Adam, we were never meant to die as the sons of God. And now we're going to be returned back to that. And even Israelites who understand that they're Israelites in this lifetime can't understand that part of our heritage. That the Lord literally made us to be immortal. And we're going to return to that. And it's a very powerful lesson, with creation being less than a month old in the Lord's time, man. It's a beautiful thing when you think about it, because we're gods in chains of darkness. We're gods in the flesh. Esau has taken the confidence away from our people, but the elect, as the scriptures say, will trust on the Lord. And the Lord told us that we were gods. Matter of fact, if I may, I want to grab Psalms 82 and 6, but I want to grab it in the NLT just to bring this out, just to hit this point. Psalms 82 and 6. I say, you are gods. You are all children of the Most High, but you will die like mere mortals and fall like every other ruler. That was a punishment. That's a punishment. There will come a time where we will live forever if you can receive it. Even Esau in his science, you know, he points to the reason that people age and die. And it's because he used these technical terms like telomeres and different things, but basically the Lord put a cap on our ability to regenerate ourselves to live forever. The Lord did that. And we're going to be brought back to that immortal estate, man. Lord willing, we be a part of that number. All Israel eventually will have that estate, because that's an inheritance of the sons of God. And these are deep things through the Spirit that even those who understand that they're Israelites can't receive these things. You got different camps that are saying that after 1,000 years you're gonna translate. You're not gonna live forever. You're gonna translate. You're gonna be in the spirit world, and then after 1,000 years you'll come back. Something of that nature. Forgive me if I've misquoted it exactly to the T, but you have camps who say that we won't live forever. We're gonna live for like 1,000 years, and then we'll translate. But for you to say that, you're saying Yahweh Shah is gonna do the same thing. But let's get this. This is 1 John chapter 3 and verse 2. Beloved, now are we the sons of God, and it doth not yet appear what we shall be. But we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. And the Lord said that we would live. Man, let's get it. Let's get it, man. Let's get it. Because this is a part, when you go, you have You have to zoom out, if you can, through the Spirit to the beginning. What did the Lord tell Adam? You know, from the ground you came, from the ground you shall return. That was a punishment. That was a punishment. Because you have these people who can't imagine people just living forever. How will the earth occupy or hold that many people? You have people who ask these type of questions, but when you go into the book of Genesis, it was never the intention of the Lord for Adam to die in the first place. And what I mean by that, his first estate was to live forever. Now the Lord knew that he would go off, but the Lord's intention was to make the sons of God immortal on earth, and he's going to do that. We just had to learn this lesson as mortals, if that makes sense. When you think about the Lord, you know, the Lord is the only begotten. But he became perfect through sufferings. Likewise, the entire nation of Israel had been made perfect through this journey through mortality. So when we do receive eternal life, we'll be more merciful because we understand how it feels to be mortal. It's a beautiful, man, call Allah me, how about Shemal Shah? This is, man, there's many scriptures on this. This is Matthew chapter 25. You know what? Let me go to this one. Mark chapter 10 and verse 30. I'm going to start up. Mark chapter 10 and verse 28. Then Peter began to say unto him, Lo, we have left all and followed thee. And they did that in a lifetime. Think about that. The days of Israel are innumerable. And they're talking about the things that they forsook in one lifetime. Even now, you have Jake who said they can't give up their life in this world, and we're talking one lifetime. Continuing, it says this. I'll read it again. Then Peter began to say unto him, Lo, we have left and followed thee. Verse 29, and Yahushua answered and said, Verily I say unto you, there is no man that hath left house or brethren or sisters or father or mother or wife or children or lands for my sake and the gospel's, but he shall receive 100-fold now in this time, houses and brethren and sisters and mothers and children and lands with persecutions, and in the world to come eternal life. The Lord said, verily, all right, which means truly. But even now, these things are too wonderful for those who call themselves Israelites because it's just beyond our imagination, and our imagination is capped. There's a limit to our imagination because of Babylon the Great. So when our people hear this, that's why the Lord said you have to come back as a child, so to speak. Humble yourself as a child. You can tell a child anything really, and they'll receive it as reality. They'll receive it. But now, because of Jake being in Babylon the Great and hearing Esau's so-called knowledge and science, they hear what the Lord said, the Lord who created everything, and they say that's not possible. Think about that. Think about the fact that our people are willing to sacrifice eternity on the first resurrection for one lifetime, man. Matter of fact, now eventually our entire nation will have eternal life. I want to say that as a caveat. 2/3 of our people will learn this lesson through death by pain, but they will be the children of the elect. Me and brothers were talking about this on the past weekend in West Palm, that the joy of a man, is his woman, of course, and his children. Because a man coming together with his woman, how's their love expressed? Through the children. So the elect, the children of the elect are going to be the 2/3 coming back. And that's how the mercy comes full circle. Because the same mercy the Lord has on the nation of Israel, beginning with the elect as sons, the elect are going to have that same sentiment towards 2/3 when they come back as the children. And they will have eternal life. So the eternal life is not just reserved for the elect of the nation of Israel, but ultimately it's reserved for all of the nation of Israel. That's our inheritance as sons of God. We are sons of God, but we shall die like men. And the Lord has put us as gods in these chains of darkness, and he's discerning, he's judging us. How do they operate under mortality? How do they operate? Real quick. Hebrews 2:14. For as much as the children are partakers of flesh and blood, he also himself likewise took part of the same. Which shows you Yahushua was born just like every man on earth was born. All right? You have Christianity saying that it said it behooved him. Lord willing, I'm going to get that. Hebrews 2:14, for as much then as the children are partakers of flesh and blood, he also himself likewise took part of the same, that through death he might destroy him that had the power of death, that is the devil, and deliver them who through fear of death were all their lifetime subject to bondage. Because every time Jake came back, your flesh is built to scare you concerning death. Because your flesh is made to survive. Which is why it's a separation between your spirit that's in you and the flesh that you're in chains in. If that makes sense.